Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into There is More to Be Done. My name is Anam, and I'm a psychology enthusiast. I'm here to share some simple strategies with you from the toolkit that I have created through my experiences and learnings in life for the everything is out of control, I don't know what to do moments. In this podcast, once in 2 weeks, I talk about different topics that will help you develop confidence and a I got this attitude. So let's get started. Today, I'm going to talk about connecting with people. I have always thought that life is too long and too short at the same time. For the most part, it feels really short. And in this short life, I feel like all we have is really each other. We humans have always lived in tribes, in groups. And then we went on to meet larger groups and started building communities, and then created smaller teams within communities, started building companies. Wherever we go, we always connect with somebody else. And when we do connect, we create magic. And this is why showing up as your best self in the best version of you is the most crucial part. That is what decides what your legacy is going to be. What is it that people are going to associate with you when you eventually go on? I feel sad sometimes thinking about the world we live in today. I feel like today people really struggle so much to connect with other people. We're always so scared of rejection. There is so much lack of self confidence when it comes to meeting new people, which usually results in us hardly making the first move. And if we do end up keeping it light and keeping it simple, we're always afraid of offending somebody else or saying the wrong thing or just simply being disliked. People don't even like having difficult conversations anymore. Whether it's home or at work or at school, we keep suppressing all these feelings. And we do all this because we think that we don't have the space to share it. Being around so many people, it's really tragic that we have managed to make so much advancements in every single field, in every single area of science, of technology. But in communication, in basic communication and building relationships, we're kind of going backwards. I lost someone very close to me when I was young. And all that made me realize was that life is very short and unpredictable. In a way, things happen for a reason, right? I learned that day that I will never ever take anyone for granted. Anyone who comes into my life, I will try my level best to treat them with respect and all the attention that I've got because I don't know what the future holds or the next time if I'll even see them or not. In realizing that in such a young age, it made me value this a lot. And I always kept it at the front and center of my core value system. I promised myself that I want to leave every possible interaction with anyone on a positive note. This is not realistic, of course. I get that. But that's why it's a goal, because I can strive for it. And so, ever since I was 16, I've spent so much time and energy in building meaningful, intentional relationships. Until then, I used to want to be popular. I wanted to run behind people just because I thought it's cool to have a lot of friends. But once this phase of my life kicked in, I just stopped. I spent some time soul searching and deciding on what's important for me. I realized that I'm a visual learner. And so I created a visual board of the key values that were important to me. How I created that board is a process that I've described more in detail in episode 9. But what creating these visual cues or value board really did for me is that it helped me decide who are the kind of people that I want to associate with. What kind of relationships do I want to maintain? How open do I want to be about my life? How much do I want to communicate with my friends? And knowing what I want in my relationships, in my friendships, made it easier to eliminate everything else. Like they say, know what you want and say no to everything else. That's how I decided and started to implement that strategy. Of course, I made a lot of errors in judgment. I tried to create intentional friendships with people who didn't share the same sentiment. But that just helped me learn and make better choices the next time. And it's not easy to walk away from people or not try our best to get people to like us. But walking away and letting things go, in my experience, is most difficult when we don't have confidence in our ability to adjust well. If we have the confidence that we will be fine no matter what new situation comes on, we will be able to show up better, show up more positively. And we are excited for every new opportunity that comes instead of dreading the change. It kind of helps you see all these experiences that did not work out with people as lessons and see phases of your life and people as seasons of your life. Building confidence to me is to walk into a room and own your presence. Feel like you're going to be more than fine, even if it's a completely unfamiliar situation. I was a wallflower most of my life. And trust me, it was very, very tough to get out there. But defining my value system and deciding to stay true to it was the pivoting point for me. This is also where my value board came in handy. With my values clearly displayed in front of me, I could remind myself to live those values even when it was heartbreaking and tough and when it scared the hell out of me. Showing up vulnerably and being transparent is scary because the chances of getting hurt is very high. But as I talked about the mental barriers that we have in episode 2, if you mentally prepare yourself, it becomes easier to take that hit because you know and you train your mind to react in a better way. And so, if you are committed to your values and you know what they are very, very clearly, it becomes easier to overcome the pain, get up, and get back at it after a negative experience. And so, now whenever I try to meet people, I don't shy away from being completely transparent and open. The journey to this point was chaotic and messy. But when I started, I knew there was a science to this madness. I knew what I wanted to accomplish was very much out of my comfort zone. My goal was to create a specific tribe of people that shared the positive energy that I wanted to be around. I wanted to connect with people in a real way that mattered. And so I strategized. The strategy I created to go about this insanely risky project for me was that I first started with understanding my non negotiables and knowing exactly where I want to draw the boundary. Something else that also helped me meet people in a very uninhibited way was to accept my past and to stop living in my past. That story in detail is for another day. But the highlights version of it is that I finally accepted that whatever happened, happened. And to keep thinking about what happened and how difficult that experience is was keeping me stuck in there. It created this benchmark against which I was comparing my present all the time, unconsciously. If you really just think about things that, okay, those experiences happened, I was fortunate enough to learn from it, and these are the things I'm going to remember from it. But future, here I come. Just changing that narrative has helped me to speak from a space of gratitude and not complain anymore. And equipped with all this information now, when I meet new people, I try to somehow work those things into conversations. I try to understand and observe how they react to it. If their reaction is favorable, I know that this is somebody I want to create a connection with and I want to explore and see where that connection goes. And in case I see like the reaction was not very favorable, I knew that this was not a space that I wanted to invest my energy into. In both cases, being open and talking about myself and my boundaries and my non negotiables helped me decide whether this is the exchange that's going to be an intentional one or not. And if it was not, that's completely fine. I just had a great conversation and moved on with my life. But it really helped me save my energy in spaces where I used to before invest so much time and effort. In the end, when I didn't get it reciprocated, I got hurt. When I started retaining power over the narrative of my life, understanding what is best for me and choosing things that I invited in my life and saying no to everything else that did not look like what I wanted, confidence just became a byproduct because I no longer needed external factors or people to validate my feelings or like me. I was focused on my strengths and I focused on the value I can offer people and the value that they are adding in my life. So now when I go to networking events and I feel like, oops, I don't know what to do, I just show up. Initially, I feel uncomfortable. One or two people will always come to you, talk to you. You'll end up in awkward conversations initially. And by the end of those awkward conversations, you still have gathered some information and tools for next time. Even if you feel that it is something that is going to be so awkward and so uncomfortable, just dive into the uncomfortable feeling. Just show up to whatever is making you nervous, whether it's the event, whether it's the date, whether it's an interview, because showing up is in your control and trying your best is in your control. And every time you try, it's practice. Try harder every time you show up and be consistent, and practice will make it perfect. Eventually, you are going to do better because, like I always say, it's not possible that you put in so much effort into something and it doesn't work out. Our body is amazing, and even our muscles have their own memory. Do it enough times, and it will just come to you naturally. I used to keep these prompts on my phone lock screen till it started to be something that came naturally to me. And now it's just a clear vision in my head with commitment and consistency that allows me to naturally operate with this mindset in a new setting. Of course, it still intimidates me a lot, but with strategy in my hand, it doesn't scare me anymore. Jay Shetty had an interesting podcast episode where he shared a self confidence prompt that is what I was using on my phone. So the prompt that I kept on my phone was stop, pause, and swap. What it meant was whenever I was having a negative self talk thought or a negative thought that was against my self confidence, I would pause, I would change the narrative, and I would swap the statement in my head. It really helped me to navigate through these networking events where I would really hesitate to even go and start a conversation with someone. So try it out. Make a list of some new events that you want to go to that scare you and use the strategy. Let me know how that works out. This is me signing off. Until the next 2 weeks. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode and found this topic helpful. If you did find it helpful or you know somebody who might like this topic, please like and share the episode. And please follow the show on the app that you're listening to this podcast on. Please do let me know in the comment section of how you like this episode and if you have any questions regarding this topic or any other topics that I have shared in my podcasts. I'll be more than happy to answer them.